Now at 5:30, a quiet night in Lexington after rash of violence. How extra patrols are helping out.
Also on WKYT this morning, the Centerpoint project has left an eyesore in the center of the city of Lexington for now. We'll break down the discussions going on, and they are tense between city officials and developers.
And new information out of Baltimore this morning where an inmate is claiming that Freddie Gray actually was trying to injure himself while in custody.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, and it's so nice to have you with us here on WKYT on this Thursday. It's April 30th, last day of April. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. This Centerpoint project story just keeps getting more and more interesting, so we'll bring you a little bit of an update on that.
Back and forth on that one, no doubt about it at this point. All right, we've had a beautiful string of days, and we'll get back to that pretty quickly, but in the meantime...
There's a brief intermission that we're hearing about where we may see some wet weather, right, Micah?
That's what it looks like. We're looking for a few showers here and there, and they're very spotty, especially as we slide into the afternoon. That is your best bet of seeing some spotty rain. Temperatures 40s, 50s, 46 now in Somerset. You look toward the capital city in the mid-40s, and then the rest of us sitting there in the 50s. So it's definitely not as cold or cool as what we have seen the past couple of mornings. 60 degrees by the afternoon. Spotty rain in here and there. And that takes you off into the evening, overnight and into tomorrow morning. That cooler air settles right back in, but doesn't stick around for long. I'll show you that off towards your weekend coming up.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Here's the latest from WKYT.
Well, following what's been described as a rash of crime in Lexington, police officers are stepping up patrols in certain neighborhoods.
Since the beginning of April, a dozen people have been shot and one has been stabbed to death. WKYT's Mark Barber is live now with a look at how the first night of these extra patrols went. Mark, good morning. What have we found out?
Good morning, Bill and Rebecca. After a violent 3 weeks, police say it was a very quiet night. Officers say that the crime in the city has been rising along with the temperatures. Investigators say that they've responded to this recent crime wave by increasing their bike patrols in all areas of the city that are seeing an uptick in crime. In the past 3 weeks, police say more people have been assaulted with a weapon than in the previous 3 months combined. Since April 7th, our records show that there have been 12 shootings and 1 stabbing. Investigators say in 2 of those cases, men were killed in robberies. On April 19th, officers tell us Salahuddin Jitmut, a pizza delivery driver, was stabbed to death while he was making a delivery on Trent Circle. 2 days before that, investigators say Jonathan Kruger, a 22-year-old UK student, was shot and killed while he was walking home on East Maxwell Street. Officers say they have extra patrols in all areas seeing an upswing in crime, especially in North Broadway, 7th Street, and Georgetown Street. Now, the NCAA, as well as the Lexington Police Department, will be meeting together at a town hall forum to discuss ways to make the city a safer place. That forum will begin at 6 p.m. at Winburn Middle School. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Well, police say there has been a decrease in violent crimes this year compared to last year. It's important to note that they have made arrests in the 2 most recent murder cases.
Well, the saga of Centerpoint, that project in the middle of downtown Lexington, was supposed to be a huge skyscraper at first, and then it was scaled back to a different kind of project. But the drama is continuing this morning.
Many, many years in the making, this one. Drama, saga, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. Developer Dudley Webb has responded to city leaders who've demanded he refill the hole and return it to its original state. Hillary Thornton is live downtown near the site with the latest developments in this. Good morning.
Good morning. As those conversations continue to go back and forth, tension between the city of Lexington and the Centerpoint developer Dudley Webb continues to heat up as the 2 parties exchange letters stating differing demands and plans for the future of this project that started back in 2008. While the city wants the giant hole filled, Webb says the project is making progress as he fired off a letter of his own in response to the city's demand. Webb's letter outlines several examples of work at the construction site within the last 60 days. That letter came after an attorney for the Urban County Council wrote a letter to Webb referencing an agreement signed back in December of 2013. Now, that agreement states that once ground is broken, work must not be stopped for 60 consecutive days. The agreement goes on to say if this does happen, the developer must restore the area to its original state, including dirt, utilities, fencing, and the grass.
We've been monitoring the development of the site every day since that agreement was signed. The failure to act in this instance has been pretty egregious. I think folks only need to drive by the site and peek in the fence to see that nothing's been done.
Now, Webb claims that the city's letter is having an immediate negative impact on the project, and he says that at least one tenant has now withdrawn from the project. Live in Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Hopefully they'll be able to work it out.
Right.
Eventually.
In the long term, certainly.
Well, it was a pretty quiet night in Baltimore after violent riots earlier this week. Hundreds were arrested following those riots and looting. This comes after the death of Freddie Gray, who died after he was arrested.
And while people there stayed calm following the second night of a 10 p.m. curfew, some protesters in some other cities did not remain peaceful. At a solidarity protest in New York City, police arrested at least 60 people, and a scuffle broke out between protesters and police. 9 people were arrested in a protest in Denver. And in Ferguson, Missouri, people also gathered to march down the streets.
More information is coming to light this morning on just how Freddie Gray received that final spinal injury. Well, 2 new accounts of his arrest came out late last night. The first one comes from a woman close to one of the officers involved in the arrest. That woman told CNN that the officer thinks Gray was injured while he was being arrested before he was put into a police van. And another account comes from the Washington Post, which says a prisoner who was inside the van with Gray told investigators Gray was intentionally trying to hurt himself by throwing himself against the van's walls. Now, Gray's family has responded, saying they, quote, disagree with any implication that he severed his own spinal cord. So I'm sure more information coming to light. A report expected out tomorrow.
Yeah,
on
we'll
this.
keep watch on that.
Well, Nepal's government is encouraging folks to go ahead with their plans to climb Mount Everest. Of course, there was an avalanche there during that massive earthquake in Nepal, and the plans to reopen the routes up the mountain as early as next week.
Meanwhile, the rescue and recovery operations have not stopped, and 5 days after the devastating earthquake, Andrew Spencer reports many people in Nepal are desperate for aid.
Their orphanage badly damaged. 55 children now sleep under a makeshift tent. 19-year-old Ishwar Gamire helped get them to safety when Saturday's earthquake shook their Nepali village.
It was so frightening. And all the children, they started crying and screaming, and I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do now?
Now they're just doing what they can for themselves.
Yeah, we're pretty much on our own because we haven't got any help yet.
More planes carrying aid arrived at the airport in Kathmandu Wednesday.
Water purification tablets, with hygiene kits, with tents, tarps.
But government officials say they still urgently need 500,000 tents to provide shelter to what is a huge number of people displaced amid the devastation. In the mountains north of the city, crews evacuate survivors. The Army found a Belgian couple taking shelter in one of the few standing buildings in Langtang.
When you see entire villages that you saw the previous day that was still standing, now just covered in snow, and you know how fast everything went, and you just know that this entire place is a graveyard.
In Kathmandu, crews searched through the rubble. Here they hope to find a 45-year-old mother alive. Instead, they find her body. She is one among thousands as the death toll continues to rise every day. Elsewhere, a miraculous rescue. A 27-year-old man surviving more than 80 hours buried under the rubble. His family says he's now resting, feeble and distraught, but alive. I'm Andrew Spencer, reporting.
And today, rescuers also freed an 18-year-old from the rubble of a 9-story residential building. Somehow, he had survived there for 5 days. Officials say he cried for water during the 5-hour rescue operation.
Some amazing stories of survival there. Well, a Frankfort police officer is now linked to a bourbon heist and steroids. Police say that officer, Michael Wells, resigned yesterday. Wells was named in search warrants connected to the case. Those warrants say Gilbert Kurtzinger, considered to be the ringleader, placed orders for steroids with Wells. Investigators say Wells called Kurtzinger 3 times while deputies were serving a search warrant that uncovered the stolen bourbon. An internal investigation by Frankfort police found that Wells may have violated city policy.
After deliberation, Officer Wells elected to resign his position with the Frankfort Police Department.
Wells had been with Frankfort Police for a decade. He was the department's DARE officer. Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton would not comment if Wells could face more charges, but he did tell us that he expects more arrests in the case.
Is the small community of Krypton in Perry County at risk? There are several coal mines in the area, but now the group Appalachian Voices says mountaintop removal is destroying the town. The group compiled a list of 50 communities affected by the practice, and Krypton earned the top spot. They say poverty rates, water pollution, and population shifts contributed. And as people in the town leave, it means a decrease in money flowing to other businesses.
We used to have 3 work hands besides me and my wife. Now with just me and her running herself. People don't have the money to spend, that's what, when they don't have it, they can't spend it.
Other communities considered at risk in Kentucky include Busy, Tip Top, as well as Simers, Sailor, and Stopover. In all, there are 16 Kentucky communities on that list.
Well, an Anderson County child received a big surprise from his dad at school yesterday.
Oh my God! That's Eddie!
Wow, amazing. The Anderson News shared this video of Sergeant Brad Sizemore surprising his son Ethan in a 2nd grade class at Emma B. Ward Elementary School. Sergeant Sizemore just completed a tour of duty in Iraq and Kuwait and is back home in Lawrenceburg for the first time in nearly a year.
What a hug, huh? All right. Well, today's Pegasus Parade is going to be a special experience for one Louisville teenager. Last month, 13-year-old Tay Reed was shot during a fight. He always had a dream to march in a parade, and that dream will become reality later today. He'll be marching with the Kentucky step and dance teams. Since he's been recovering from the shooting, he's been speaking out against youth violence in the city. So a strong opportunity to bring that message today,
Yeah,
and a great parade, hopefully.
And yeah, very awesome stuff. I cannot wait till the Derby, right? It's just a few days away.
You're going to the Derby,
I'm
right?
going.
How about that?
I've never been.
Yeah,
I'm so
get to
excited.
cover it?
Yeah, please follow me on Facebook too to find that out. Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
All right, that'll be fun. Let's check live drive traffic this morning, see what is going on at 541. And here's a look at the interstate. There's I-64 and I-75 at the northern split. Everything flowing along just fine this morning. No reports of any major troubles. Of course, on the interstate, that major resurfacing continues in Madison County. So if you're headed southbound, you may run into a bit of a delay with that this morning. But no major issues out there.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And we hope you'll stay with us.
There's still a whole lot more to come this morning, including a look at some rain chances.
And it looks like we're not having it right now, but it will come in the forecast later on. Show you scattered showers out and about coming up.